Hello everyone, how are you? I gotta share. Hey Bray. I'm good. How are you? We're gonna talk about dragons. We're gonna talk about dragons specifically from this book. Which I didn't even know I could do that. So now I can do this. Yay! It's kind of funny. Bree, you're fine. Hey country boy, how are you? I know. I don't know. I clicked a button and it let me. Yes, we're gonna get oddly specific about dragons from this book. Thank you for sharing the live, Rocky. I appreciate it. This is a very good subject that I like talking about a lot, and I have a lot of notes about. Like, that's what my book looks like. Thank you, Brie. There you go, TikTok. Doing all the things. I'm doing all the things, I promise. So, thank you, country boy. So if I have that there, then I don't have to keep like showing it. People will know what I'm reading from. So I feel like that's good. And it doesn't take up, because if I pin something, thank you, Brie. If I pin it, then it takes up some of the space. And I can't see the chat as much. So I like that. Hey, Chloe, how are you? What's up? Thank you, Toto. I appreciate it. Because, I enjoyed reading, but the thing is, like, unless you are there every single stream, you're not gonna know what place we are. So that's the thing. So that might have to be posted somewhere else. I'm doing really good, Chloe. Thank you. I appreciate that. I like the stuff you've been posting, all the nostalgic stuff, Chloe. It's really cute. Whenever one of your videos pops up, like it's like something I had completely forgotten about. Hello, Jay. How are you? You want to talk about dragons? You want to talk about types of dragons? Hey, Paul. We're talking about dragons. We're talking about the 3 different types of dragons, and we're also talking about like the show dragons versus the description, like in the books. Thank you, Paul. We have I have like examples of the different types because there's 3 different types based on their skull, and we're gonna discuss like how that even came to be. You're doing a great job. Hey, Joker. Thank you. Chloe, you're doing great. I love it. The nostalgia is great. I mean, like, I would say it's been a flawless transition. Thank you, Jay. I appreciate it. Hello, Jessica. Hello. So, I was actually working on a project, and I was looking at all the different book descriptions of the dragons, and that's where that kind of came from. Oh, you're fine. You don't have to apologize. Hello, Christopher. Thank you, Jess. So, apparently I can do this. So I don't have to have it across the bottom, because if I have it across the bottom, it covers up part of the chat for me. So I can do this. And that's the book that I'm reading from. Hello. So I figured, okay, like House of the Dragon season 1 had a lot of good things about it, which I know. Who? Grizzly? Who are you talking about? This is the book about House of the Dragon season 1. So it's interesting because it has a big section on how they decided to style the dragons, and I found a quote in here that I think y'all are gonna find interesting. Yeah, Jessica doesn't feel good, which sucks. Balerion? Is Balerion in this book? He's mentioned as one of the types, but Balerion is not in House of the Dragon. Vhagar is, that flew with Balerion. But yeah, we're gonna talk about Balerion. But he's not gonna appear in House of the Dragon. He passed away before Viserys was even shown. Unfortunately, but he did. Okay, so... Alright, yeah. Okay, that's fine with me. The one that went back to conquer Valyria after the Duke. Thank you, Christopher. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Blackbird. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, so hopefully that'll work. We'll see. I'm always happy when it works. I'm not shocked when it doesn't work. There we go. All right, so now let me see. Hey. Oh, good. It didn't cover up the book, but let me see if I can change the layout now.
Possibly his dragon is named. I don't. If it is, I don't recall.
Who?
That guy, the guy that went back to reconquer Valyria after the Doom. The name of his dragon. I don't know it, and I don't recall if it was mentioned or not.
Oh, I can look it up.
I think it might have just said flew his dragon. I don't even know if it would warrant a name.
It's like, oh yeah, okay. That worked. Okay. Okay. I'm starting to get way better at navigating all of this. Okay. So the question's about the guy that was gonna go claim New Valyria. I thought everybody's making a joke about Aegon. I'll look like for a minute, but if I can't find it, then somebody else can look. Yeah, no, it's just pulling up stuff about Euron. Okay, so. Oh god, I love incels. I really do. Bye-bye. Okay, so House of the Dragon season 1, like, I don't really talk about it as bad as season 2 is just awful. But a lot of really good ideas and work, a lot of work went into season 1 of House of the Dragon. The information I'm going to be reading is in this book. That's why it's there.
You might say all.
Yeah.
All of it was dedicated to season 1.
Yeah,
they didn't have any left over.
It's true. So, I thought it would be interesting. Thank you, Maddie. Hello, Ant-Man. I thought it would be interesting to talk about this book, which I barely ever bring this stuff up, because it discusses what all the things, and George was still involved at this point, all the things that went into deciding how they were going to make the dragons look in House of the Dragon, which is a really, really big deal, actually. Um, and there's a lot of very talented people that put in a lot of work. And like we just saw a really good picture of Tessera in the trailer for season 3. So like the work that these people did is still coming into play in season 3, which I've been very vocal that Caraxes looks really bad in the teaser trailer for season 3. Um,
Looked terrible.
yeah, it doesn't even look like the same dragon. And then some people were like, it's the angle, it's perspective. No, I found the same angle and perspective from season 1. Like whatever's going on with them, they're not focusing on the dragons. Charlie, same, yes. So that's what we're trying to do. We're gonna try to scratch the itch of no Game of Thrones on Sundays. Okay, so just in case you don't know, Miguel Sapochnik worked on Game of Thrones, and he was involved in season 1 only of House of the Dragon. So I'm a fan of Miguel. I think he's very creative. I think it was definitely a loss when he walked away. Now I understand more of why he walked away. Um, I don't think there's any chance that he could have stayed and kept his mouth shut. But anyway, so at this point though, this is before anything has been made, and this is when they're trying to decide, okay, there's going to be a lot of dragons in this series. The question is, how do you have all these different dragons? How do you keep it looking like it's related to Game of Thrones, but it's not redundant? And there's something I wanted to tell you, Chris. I thought this was really funny. Not Miguel, not him, but I found a quote, and it said, okay, one of the other guys, I'm not even gonna say who it is, but it's not Miguel, said, we wanted the new dragons. They had to feel like ancestors to Drogon and his siblings, which is really problematic because they're not. They're not all ancestors to Drogon. I found that really interesting. It's like they completely forgot that it's been so long. Like Drogon, like his egg is fossilized. The eggs are fossilized. Like there's like probable siblings to those dragons that are actually in House of the Dragon. So yet again, that's just another thing that tells you that other than Miguel, I don't think anybody really thought about, oh, this is in the past. Like I get it with Vhagar, I get it, but it's a blanket statement. The new dragons have to feel like ancestors to Drogon and his siblings, and they're not. They're not. I thought you might find that interesting. Yeah, Jay did. So, what can we say? Chris? Surprised?
No.
Okay. I thought it was interesting though. Okay. So, yes, Ryan Condal is involved in some of this, but I'm gonna leave him out as much as I can. Okay, so basically, all right, I wanted to point this out because there's been a lot of issues between House of the Dragon and George. All right, this is what George actually said before they designed the dragons. He said, if you read the book, the dragons are distinctive colors, and he's talking about fire and blood. If you look at real world lizards and snakes, they're incredibly colorful. And I always thought the dragons should be that way too, especially in House of the Dragon, where we don't have 3 dragons, we have many. You want the dragons to be instantly recognizable. I wanted also to get a sense that these dragons have personalities. If you have 3 cats, each of those cats will have a very distinct personality from the other two. They won't be the same, and dragons should not all be the same. So from that little bit of information, that means George intended for the dragons in House of the Dragon to be colorful, which they mostly are not. And I thought that was like a really interesting thing to bring up. The clues of the name, I mean, yeah. But if you think about it, honestly, the only colors that they're not afraid to use are like, it's obviously gray and then like gray blue. We have some red and then we have Syrax. But the other dragons are a lot different. Like I was just talking about Tessarian. You can barely tell what this is. That's Tessarian from the trailer. And just so people understand what we're talking about here, that's what Tessarian would look like if you went by book description. Now I understand like you don't want to have just a bunch of like rainbow dragons because then it starts looking cheesy. I get that. Like that's one of the ways to make a show completely take you out of the element is if it's high fantasy and it's just too much. I get that. But I do think that they should have at least kind of made a couple of them a little more distinct, because in House of the Dragon, we actually have who's described as like the most beautiful dragon to exist, and that's actually Sunfire. And it was not giving the most beautiful dragon ever to exist. The design of the dragon is good, but a lot of people were disappointed because Sunfire is supposed to be bright gold and actually pink wing membranes. And we didn't get to see that. We actually only got to see Sunfire for a minute. Yeah, and I understand that. Hello, John. I do. And if you've gone live with us before and you want to come up and talk about dragons, just request. And don't be offended if you're not approved. We only go live with people we know for safety reasons.
And
Oh,
sometimes
thank you, Adam.
them.
What?
Only go
Okay.
live with people we know, and then sometimes not even them.
Yeah, true. Sometimes, yeah, that's true. Interesting. So yeah, if anybody wants to come up and talk about dragons, you can. So unless it's sketch. So basically, yeah, gotcha. So basically, what they did is they decided that they can't have every single dragon in House of the Dragon look like Drogon. Because and Drogon was the one dragon that they kept going back to, because he's the dragon that you see the most, obviously. So, and this is one, like, I love this picture. So they wanted them to look somewhat like Drogon, but if every single one looks like that, then it's not going to be interesting when there's a new dragon. And you're just going to be like, okay, there's another one, and another one, another one. So I thought it was a really good idea that Miguel Sapochnik said, let's have 3 different types. And the 3 different types of dragons are, it's pretty much, you can tell based on the skull. And my favorite type looks like this. This is the T-Rex dinosaur look that you have here. I just really like his teeth in this picture. And I didn't print this for this live. It was in this book because I'm obsessed. But it's like, do you see how you have this like rectangle shape that's very T-Rex, and the eyes, they're to the side, but they're still forward. So that's going to be Drogon, Rhaegal, and Viserion. That's like the dinosaur type. And it's like a big square head, And then also the dinosaur type, it's thought, not proven, but it's thought those are the dragons that get the largest. So that's going to be like Balerion. And then, yeah, Grizzly, we're going to get into that. Yeah. We're getting into all of them. This is Dragon Talk. So, pretty much what Chris and I think, there's 3 different types. So we think likely obviously in Valyria, there was a lot of different types. But I asked him, I was like, do you think they bred them for different purposes? And then we'll get into that too. Yeah, this is Dragon Talk. So here's one of my Drogons. I have a lot. But if do you see how he can still look forward even though it's kind of to the side? Right? And do you see like it's kind of flat right there? But from like the side, like if you just look at his head, it's very dinosaur, it's very T-Rex. Isn't he pretty? And then obviously we have Big Boy there, but yes, it's show and tell too, by the way. This is also show and tell. But yeah, so this is my favorite, which is not really shocking. But in House of the Dragon, let's see, Sea Smoke has a similar design. They actually reused Drogon CGI for Sea Smoke. Yeah, so there's that. And then like when I was what I was talking about with Sunfire, these are the wing membranes. So if you can just imagine gold and then this being pink, thank you, Blackbird. That's what Sunfire looks like in the books, which I don't think that would have been a bad thing to do because that dragon is described as being so beautiful. The other one that's described as being really, really beautiful is Targaryen. Like she's the blue queen. And from what I can tell, granted, there's not a lot, but it looks like Targaryen is the similar style to Drogon. I would need to see more to be 100% there. Oh yeah, no, that's the next type we're talking about. Yeah. I love a lot of the dragon design. I love the effort that was put into designing the dragons. I mean, like, you guys know, I hate the continuity issues that they've had, but I can also appreciate all the time and effort that went in to making these dragons. And I can see what people in season 1 spent hours upon hours upon hours doing. So they had a couple artists working on each dragon, like the original 12. And what they did is they had one person working on like Caraxes and one on Syrax, and they would get finished with the picture and then switch. So it's kind of a cool way that you have 2 totally different dragons, and then the artists talk to each other and compare, and then they take pieces from, it's like they take the best part of this one, the best part of this one, and then that's how you get a dragon as interesting as Caraxes, who is probably, Caraxes and Vhagar are the 2 most talked about dragons in House of the Dragon. And obviously I would have this. So here is Caraxes, commonly called Noodle Boy, because he has the incredibly long neck, which in the teaser trailer, it looks like his neck isn't as long as it's supposed to be. Lorador, so do I. Very much. Yeah, Brie, I liked it too. This is actually really, I like this book. I wouldn't recommend the follow-up book. It doesn't have much in it and there's no dragons. But this one, the season 1 House of the Dragon book is actually cool. Like, I'm not going to put it up there if I don't think it's cool. But, so, there's no dragon we've ever seen that's built similar to Caraxes. Even his tail is different. And, oh yeah, you can see. Okay. So those are his back legs. Look, I don't know how many people have noticed this. Caraxes has winged back legs. No other dragon we've ever seen has that. Look at that. I mean, he's just cool as hell. Caraxes is described as being red, and then Daemon and Caraxes are like, it's known in the books like they're really close. But all this unique, this came from people that were working on the designs before season 1. Yes, he is. Yeah, Jay, yes. My personal opinion, this is a very fast dragon. There, you can even see it better. I also talk a lot about if you're going to be in a fight, Caraxes would be a great dragon to have just because Caraxes has this neck and you could fly close to another dragon, but not super close. And Caraxes is still going to be able to take some chunks out, which I mean, I don't enjoy dragons fighting, but I'm just being like honest. He could take some chunks out without getting super close. And that would be like a huge advantage. Yeah. Yes. Yes. So the reason most people think he looks like this, Chris, do you wanna tell them like that this about like how this might be some throwback genetics?
Yeah, it seems like a genetic throwback to fireworms, because it's believed that dragons were artificially created by crossbreeding with blood magic wyverns and bloodworms.
So there are actually wyverns in A Song of Ice and Fire, and they're smaller and they look more bird like to me. Would you say? Yes. Lord.
Yes, they have more bird-like faces.
Yep.
They have beaks,
Mm-hmm.
and like the body looks like what you'd be familiar with as a dragon, and but like if you gave it like a parrot's head or something.
So
Whereas
yeah,
we
go
don't know
ahead.
what fireworms look like, but based on the artwork I've seen, like the fireworms pretty much have dragon. What we know of, like when you think of a dragon's head, it's like that on a worm's body.
That this is what a wyvern looks like in A Song of Ice and Fire. So
And there's an
that
ad or
did
something blocking the face.
stupid ass ad. Go away. No, we don't want to travel. Hell no. Here we go. You see the beak? Can y'all see that? So that's
Up
a
a little
wyvern.
bit, the chat's in the way. Yeah, there we go.
So, because my view is different than y'all. So yeah, tell me if you can't see. So these
That's fine
exist in A
now.
Song of Ice and Fire.
Can you zoom in even closer on the head?
Yep.
Yeah.
So you can tell, right? Similar to a dragon, but more like a beak.
Yeah, it's more bird-like. It looks like
Mm-hmm.
one of the Skeksis almost.
Yeah, yes, I agree with the chicken. Yeah, it's like please, but these they have wyverns, which is yet another thing that is highly debated. Okay, let's just get it out of the way. Yes, in most fantasy, if it has 2 legs and wings, it's a wyvern. Not in this fantasy. In this fantasy, that's a wyvern. They're smaller with a beak. The dragons have only 2 legs in the back in anything George R. R. Martin. Chris, do you want to explain why you want me to?
I just think it's funny how he decided I'm going to take wyverns and just make them dragons in my story, and then so he later inserted in the story how someone took wyverns and made them dragons with blood magic. So like it's double layered. But originally he wanted his dragons to pretty much just look like wyverns because evolutionarily, like it makes more sense. You don't have creatures with 4 legs and wings like in the case of a bird. They've got 4 limbs, but 2 are wings, 2 are legs. Or bats, 2 are wings, 2 are legs. Like you don't see that many multiple limbed creatures unless you're talking about like octopuses or squid or spiders or something like that. But like when it comes
Mm-hmm.
to like reptiles or mammals, that's not something you see typically.
Because they'd be too heavy and it just wouldn't make any sense. And I love that. And now I like my brain only accepts that because when I see the 4-legged dragon, I'm like, God, it does look clumsy and a bit strange. I mean, because this occurs in nature, not exact, but I mean, hello, we've had, I mean, like, you can look at a pterodactyl, you can look at, hell, you can look at a bat, whatever. But like, four legs and then the wings, like, now, like, I know it's a dragon, but like, this is a dragon to me because, I mean, obviously. And then, something that a lot of people don't talk about is in the design of Drogon. Do you see this? How big this chest is? There's a lot of other dragons in fantasy, and that you don't see this. If you're going to breathe fire, you're probably going to need space. So I've always appreciated this big chest right here because I'm like, okay, that makes sense, right? And then the neck is long enough. So it what would you say, Chris? Like the neck is long enough so like the dragon would be able to turn and point flame. Like that's another thing. A lot of dragons have in other fantasy have a shorter neck, and honestly, like it doesn't make as much sense. Like all they'll be able to do is like just fire, whereas the like this this can go either direction. So I just think this design is better. I mean, I'm biased, but yeah, Lord, or most people do. But yeah, if you go look at dragons and like other, like they have the shorter neck and they're not gonna have the big chest, and like so logistically it doesn't make as much sense. And I don't know, this just my brain just loves this. I'm very good with it. But yeah, he's my favorite, and that's why they have two legs. And then, but that is why you will hear us talk about being frustrated with the sigil. Um, that's kind of been a point of contention. Chris, when did it happen in Game of Thrones? Do you know what season, or do you want me to look it up?
Wait, when what happened?
The sigil, the legs.
I don't recall because like I never noticed it until people started pointing it out. I think it was
Same.
when the end of season 7, but it could have been prior to that because like at that point I'm just glancing at the sigil, not really thinking anything about it until somebody pointed out like there's it's got the wrong number of legs, and I had seen artwork that looked really good of the sigil with 4 legs, and I thought, oh, that's interesting, like because I thought it was like a fan made thing. And I was like, well, oh, that's kind of cool, but I didn't think it'd be anything they officially used because like it looks awful if it's officially used.
See how clumsy and like it's just a lot going on here. Okay, this is what the Targaryen sigil's supposed to look like. The dragon has three heads. Okay, so it's the dragon has three heads. It's not the dragons have three heads. So it's 2 feet, just like I showed you a Drogon. 2 feet. The dragon has three heads. Like, and you can take that at like three. It happens a lot. I mean, like you have Aegon's conquest with Rhaenys and Visenya. The dragon has three heads. Then you have Daenerys has three dragons. The dragon has three heads. And then the prophecy, the dragon has three heads. So it's a common theme. But the thing is, like, it only makes sense for there to be 2 legs. So apparently, in Game of Thrones, whenever they started to care less, unfortunately, that's when the dragon got 4 legs. But I think by season 8 it was fixed. I haven't rewatched season 8, but I don't recall. You know, I was crying so hard I probably wouldn't know if the dragon had 2 or 4. So, um, but House of the Dragon has the dragon with 4 legs, and George actually said something about it, and they just don't care. Um, and then the PR stuff came out a little while back. It was VFX banners in different countries, and Rhaenyra's sigil has the 4 legs, but Aegon's has 2. And I don't know what the purpose of that. I guess it's just oversight. Um, I
Maybe they're
don't.
saying it's Aegon's way of thinking that won out. So afterwards, they went with his version of the sigil.
I mean, that's what Chris said to me, and it sounds right. But I don't know if they put that much thought into it. But like what he said is like, so I mean, if you have one with four legs, one with two legs, and you know in the future that they only have two in this sigil, then that would kind of lead you to think that they're trying to show that one side is correct. I don't know. They probably didn't put that much thought into it, honestly.
In the
Um,
books, George has it written to where like he lists off like a list of dragons that don't actually exist but exist in other fantasy. Like I think it's I'm not entirely sure, but I think it's a Tyrion chapter where he's riding with Illyrio, and he mentions that Daenerys has dragons, and
mhm.
Tyrion's first reaction is to scoff. And he's like, "What kind of dragons? There's a lot of dragons out there, like four-legged dragons, dragons that hoard gold, dragons that tell riddles. What kind of dragon is this?"
So it
Because in other
makes
fantasies, you
sense.
would see dragons telling riddles or hoarding gold. I think SMoD does both.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yes, he
or I
does.
think you might even say talk. I might even say talking dragons or dragons that tell riddles, something to that effect.
Thank you. That's another thing that I'll be honest with you. If you love A Song of Ice and Fire, if you love Game of Thrones, you'll get spoiled because you'll get used to things that make more sense. Like the dragons don't talk. They're highly intelligent though, but you know, like once a dragon like comes up and is like, "Hey," I mean, your brain kind of goes, oh, "Okay, so we're there," you
Well,
know?
at one point, that one of the members of the House of the Undying offered to teach Daenerys the speech of dragonkind.
Okay, see, what do you think that means?
Oh, either that's a false promise where they're just trying to like offer her all these things that they could potentially give her just to try to get her to come closer. They're trying to lull her in, or it could be something they actually could do that they wouldn't, but they could.
Or is
Well,
that what
he's
they commanded the dragons with it before Valyria, before High Valyrian? Could it be that?
could have been.
Because I mean, we go pretty deep lore here, so if you don't understand what we're talking about, ask a question or don't stress. But Valyria is where the Targaryens come from. You can't go there. Um, but the Valyrians were taught how to bond with dragons, and it's blood magic, and it's not explicitly explained, but somebody knew about dragons before the Valyrians, and that's information that I would love to have. Probably won't.
It's probably the Great Empire of the Dawn,
Yes.
but the Maester says, but we could probably disregard this information. Anytime a Maester says we could probably disregard this information, it's almost always correct. Probably not always. Like George probably has to sprinkle in a few things that are obviously not true, just to make it seem like the Maesters have some credibility in the history book. But he says, why would they not, if they had access to dragons and taught the Valyrians, why did they not conquer as the Valyrians did? And it's like maybe they did. Maybe that's why you find all these oily black stone statues all over the world, and
That
who knows?
it's not
We don't know how
explained how
far
they got
east
there,
the
and they're
map goes.
heavy. Maybe. I mean, because like it's just this. I mean, they're huge. I mean, who the hell moved
Or
it?
maybe they were a kind, benevolent, peaceful people, and just didn't have a concept of like using dragons for war. And so when they taught the other people how to use it, they're like, yeah, these things are really good for taking you to point A and point B. It's great. It's like, yeah, but they could burn whole armies, right? It's like, why would you use it for that?
It was necessary.
But at the same time, like, what happened to them and their dragons? Because afterwards, the Valyrians were the only ones that had them.
No idea. Would love to know. would absolutely love to know. Not a clue, but the
Because if the
theory
Great
that
Empire of
House
the Dawn
Dane is
was
of
so
that
great,
too, huh?
because if the Great Empire of the Dawn was so great, what happened to them?
I would pay decent money to know. Probably won't ever. Thank you. But would love to know because I think House Dane is from the Great Empire of the Dawn. I didn't come up with that. I heard it years ago, but like that makes sense. I mean,
I think George mentioned something about it. Because like someone asked, are they Valyrians or distantly Targaryens because they have purple eyes? And he's like, no, they're not Valyrian.
I have concept art that I'm gonna show. I just wanted to bring this up really quick. Uh, when they designed Drogon, uh, they studied a lot of different animals, and which I appreciate. But like, so the fins on the crest of his head, like you can tell, like look at that. They're based off fish, and then his wings are actually structured like bat wings. They studied bat wings, and then this. And what I think is really interesting is, I mean, if you look at that, like it looks like aquatic, and if you're show only, you kind of wonder and you have no idea, and then you see an episode and you see them dive in, catch a fish, throw it up in the air, cook it, and eat it. So, like think about the thought process. Like they already knew that at some point they wanted the dragons to be able to go in the water. So that's how he does it. I really appreciate stuff like that. I think it's really interesting. So yeah, contrary to popular belief, they're not afraid of water. People have asked me that. No, I'm not really afraid of anything, unless it's a bigger dragon. And I don't even know if all of them are afraid at that point. Probably not. Yes, Lord, or I agree with that. Yeah. Yes, I think it's great Empire of the Dawn. Um,
Like Naga was said to be the first sea dragon, but he's
mhm,
literally the only sea dragon we ever hear about. Where are the rest of the sea
yes.
dragons?
Do you think Naga existed?
I do not,
I'm iffy on it.
because the way it's described, like it seems like it was a ship made of weirwood and it just fossilized over time, and that's all that remains. Because
Yeah.
this the frame of the ship was weirwood, and but the rest was probably common wood, and the common wood is like long since rotted away,
Yep.
so it looks like ribs sticking out.
Yeah. And nothing's ever washed up.
And we never
Like,
hear about any other sea dragon at all. Like Naga's hailed as
mm-mm.
the first sea dragon. It's like, okay, well, where's the second and the third and the fourth?
Yeah,
Like,
like there's never been any bones found or anything. No, there's
no
no
mention of sea
stories.
dragons ever.
Mm-mm.
Like we have more stories of ice dragons than we do of
Mm-hmm.
sea dragons. Because they mention all the crazy creatures that are out there. It's like there's krakens and leviathans and huge whales and
Mm-hmm.
sharks and all these other things that are out in the water. No one ever says, "Watch out, you can't go there. There's sea dragons."
Never. No,
And in
and like
fact, when
there's
the
not
one
even like
time
a
someone decided to
dolphin.
sail, the one time someone decided to sail west of Westeros to see what was out there, the whole crew was panicking because at one point they thought they saw a kraken. Like
Do
no
you
one was
think the
like, "Oh, it's a
Krakens
sea
exist?
dragon! It's a sea dragon!"
Do you think there are Krakens?
Well, we know there are krakens.
Do you think they're that big though? Do you think they're massive?
Oh yeah, like well they could. I mean, not all of them. Like it's like sharks. Like if you come across a shark, you might come across one that's like 5 feet long or 6 feet
Yeah.
long, or and then you might get one closer to like 12 or 20 feet long, depending on the species. Like I imagine there's smaller krakens, like the juvenile ones, and some of the older ones probably get bigger. So yeah, there's probably ones big enough to pull a whole ship down.
Jay asked, can sea dragons breathe fire? We don't really know anything about sea dragons.
Well,
Um,
according to the legend, Naga could, because the Gray King stole her fire for his own, and blah blah blah. Like, but then again, that's according to the legend.
it it just thank you for the follow. It just makes me I don't know. I just feel like there'd be stories about them if they existed.
Yeah, or people would
Um,
at least list them like in a list of things to be worried about because they
Pirate
mentioned
stories, maybe.
like
Something.
there's the squishers. You have to watch out for those mermaids. Uh, krakens, leviathans. Apparently, leviathans are supposed to be. I think they use it interchangeably with whale. Like you could either say whale or leviathan. But at one point, they mentioned leviathans so big that they're the size of islands out in the ocean. So, like, but no one ever mentions sea dragons.
And I think there would be pirate stories. Because pirates love to tell stories about creatures and claim that they saw one or they caught one or whatever. And there's no tall tales about them. So that's what makes me think,
Even
maybe,
when
probably
people
not.
talk about sailing like
Deep
alongside the
ocean.
coast, further south along Sothorios, one of the main dangers you're warned of when you sail that way is pirates and slavers prowl the coast. So even in the unexplored areas where no one goes out, even in the ocean, like there's no stories of sea dragons. In fact, the most dangerous thing you're likely to come across there is pirates.
Yep. But there are whales. Like in the Shivering Sea, there are gray whales and humpback whales. Let's see, spotted whales, white whales. There are even narwhals, which I love a narwhal. Lorador is correct. I agree with that. Yeah, yeah. There's no unless you count Euron, and when he's happy, it's just creepy. Yeah, there. I feel like that's the whole purpose of Yara. Is because she's gonna be the new Ironborn because
You might
they need an upgrade.
you might say that their joy is kind of gray.
Yes, that's very. You know what? That's perfect. Bear down. Thank you. Your check is in the mail. God bless you. Um, yeah. When Euron's happy, everyone else is miserable. That's true. That is very true. 100%. But yeah, there's God, did you know that there's a house that has a sigil that's a whale? It's House Volmark. I don't even know if they ever did, but that's what their sigil looks like. So yeah, there's whales. There's also dead things in the water. I say that as often as I possibly can, and it probably only like one in however many people know what I'm talking about. Bree knows. That's one of the letter to John Hardhome. Dead things in the water. Dang. Bearden, I didn't know you had it like that. If I known that you knew that kind of caliber person, I would have been nicer to you a long time ago. Is she kidding or not? No one will ever know. What? Yeah, John. Dead things in the water. Um, you got that real creepy letter. Hard home didn't go well. That. Oh Jesus, Jess, you're so funny. Yeah, we've heard that you're connected. Okay, let me look at this really quick. Okay, so the dinosaur type is like Drogon, and then so the wolf type that's Meleys and Caraxes, and okay, so the position of the eyes tells you a lot, just like with an animal. Like I was showing you, Drogon's eyes are to the side, but look, you can still see him when he's forward facing. Okay, so if you're taking a dragon to battle, this is the best type to have. Bigger. Obviously, it's going to be better if the dragon's eyes face forward. This is I'm not playing dragon. Not playing at all. All right, so the wolf type 2 is or you can call it K9, whatever you want. That's going to be like Meleys and Caraxes. Their eyes are more to the side, and Chris and I were talking about it. If that's the type of dragon you take if you're going to kick somebody's ass, it would make sense for this type of dragon to be really good at hunting. Because, I mean, like, even in battle, too, because, you know, Meleys holds her own, for the love of God, I cried. But, like, it's even in the scene, because you have Rhaenys talking to Meleys, and you know how the eyes, like, Meleys just did that and could see Rhaenys? Like Drogon can't see like that. His eyes are more forward, right? Did you notice that Meleys were on the side like that? So that's gonna be really, really, really good. Well, they're smaller, so they're gonna be faster, and then that is probably perfect if you're hunting or you're trying to avoid, because like it's just the range that you have. But also you have to remember this, the dragon bond. So if you have a dragon like Meleys, you have a dragon that has eyes that are more on the side, you're sitting on that dragon and you're looking forward, because that's all we do. Our eyes just go forward, unless you're one of those people with an eye that goes the other direction, but we're not talking about that. So if you're looking forward and you have a dragon that's looking both sides, if you see something coming, you're going to react to it. The dragon's going to feel that. So I would not call it a disadvantage at all, because, again, the dragon bond, like, it's just, I don't know, it's just better. It just makes it better. It makes the dragon better, makes the person better. Yes, Lord Or, I've said that before. Yes. Caraxes has an incredibly unique ability. Like, whether it's genetic throwback, whatever it is. I mean, if you're picking dragons, I'm obviously going to always pick Drogon. If you're picking dragons and this is an option, this is a smart option. This dragon can do a whole lot of stuff. He's really cool. I have to give him credit on House of the Dragon in I think season 1 and 2. Caraxes has a roar that's very different from the other dragons, and it's like they took into account his neck and everything, because he has a roar. There's a deep part of it, but there's also like a high-pitched part. There's like a screech to it. It sounds really cool. I didn't hear that in the season 3 trailer, which I was disappointed, because no other dragon looks like Caraxes. I want him to keep his individuality, and I feel like maybe in post-production, maybe they'll make it look better. I hope. Because I don't want the quality of the dragons to keep dipping. Because there's been a dip from season 1 to season 2 with reused CGI and stuff. So, hell, who knows? Maybe they'll see this or one of my videos. Just take care of the dragons, man. Make sure the dragons look good. I mean, if it's going to be a love story, can we at least have the dragons look good while they're around? But yeah, man, I wanted to point that out because I thought this was really cool, that he's got all these little wings. So that's the K9 type. The third type is based on a horse skull. So dinosaur, canine, horse. And, yep, show and tell. That's where you're going to get like Syrax. See how different? Like, the dinosaur type and the wolf type, you have that flat on top of the head space. You don't really have that. This is streamlined. Can you tell? These two are by McFarlane, by the way. They make really good models of dragons. I tried to get a similar size. Okay, like this is Department 56. That's what Drogon is. But yeah, these are from McFarlane. So honestly, me and Chris were talking earlier. A dragon like this dragon, this is a travel dragon. Like, I mean, you can even tell, like, aerodynamic as hell. So, that's not to say that the dragon isn't fierce and can't mess up some stuff. I'm gonna say something else. A dragon's a dragon. But if you look, this kind almost looks more like the wyverns. See? So it's just interesting. So I would say these dragons would be faster and would probably be better over like long distances. Because you see, like, she's got the chest. It's not like she can't burn stuff up, but like it's not just like big, massive, like war dragon, basically. Do I have a Vhagar? No, there's not one. Not unless a Vhagar came out I don't know about. The only Vhagar, there's a Funko of Aemon on Vhagar, but like I don't think McFarlane has done another one unless I missed it. Yes. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. Yes. Exactly. And it makes sense that way, which is what I appreciate. And again, like the whole 3 different type thing that came from Miguel Sapochnik, that didn't come from George. And a lot of times, like, somebody will add something or have an idea, and George will be like, no, I love that. And I would assume that is probably one of the things. I don't think he has a problem at all with there being 3 different types. Hey, Smash. And we're not even really, we're not considering any of the wild dragons because they're different. That's a whole nother thing that we might talk about possibly if you want to. I'm kind of worried about what they're gonna have Cannibal look like, but yeah, but this is Syrax. So you want to go someplace, you want to go far distance, I would pick Syrax. If it's a fight, I probably wouldn't, unless it's just a fight with people, and then you're the only one with a dragon, so that's all that matters anyway. Okay, so oh yeah, one of the things, because you have to realize there are descriptions of the dragons, but when you do an adaptation, like, you have to take a whole lot of other things in account, like what's it going to look like, and is this one going to look different enough, or is this going to look okay? But they actually said, we're not designing 3-headed dragons with 6 wings and multiple arms and tails. That was the whole thing. Like, that's why they say they always go back to Drogon. Every dragon has to look like it could be related to Drogon. Like, he's the blueprint, which I love. I have no problem with that at all. He's the bestest boy. He is. Also, the bright colors, it sounded to me like George wanted them to have more color. I think they could get away with it without it looking cheesy. I hope Targaryen is more blue. Of course, again, a teaser trailer is a teaser trailer. Because she is the blue queen, I would like her to be more blue. We're supposed to see Dreamfire in season 3, which I talk crap about it, but obviously I'm gonna watch it. Again, like a lot of this information I'm getting from the House of the Dragon book that's right there. There's like a whole section called Creating the Dragons in this. Yeah, true. I really do think so. I was kind of disappointed that they changed Sea Smoke. Sea Smoke in season 1 was like a pale gray with a touch of red. he was colored more like Arax. And then in season 2, he was just gray. But so this is concept art that they did. Oh goodness. You're asking about Vhagar? There you go. So when they were designing Vhagar, that's when they decided that dragons don't die of old age. They never stop growing, and then they collapse on themselves. So that's why if you look at Vhagar, like, it looks like it's hard to get around if you're Vhagar. Like, look. That's why, like, she has, like, hangy skin and saggy and stuff. Because what they decided is that, like, they just keep growing until, basically, I would assume their lungs collapse. Now, that's a show thing. That's a show thing. But, I mean, I don't mind it. I don't really have a problem with that. Do you, Chris?
No.
I mean, because I think they were trying to just figure out, okay, how are they going to age? Because they've got this dragon. Now, Vhagar, if you don't know, Vhagar's, she's about 178 years old, I think, at this point. So, like, there's going to be a big difference between Vhagar and most of the other dragons because she's just so much older. And so it's like, okay, what's an older dragon going to look like? And something I posted the other day. So if you look, Vhagar doesn't have like a lot of, there's not a lot of horns and spikes. That's not because she's a different type. She's lost them. So when we see Vhagar in the Conquest, she's not going to have her turkey neck. And then she's going to be spiky like the other dragons. She's just lost a lot of it. Look, she's been through a lot, okay? She's tired. She's tired. We love her. There's a lot of hate on Vhagar in comment sections and stuff. And I'm like, come on. I'm going to need you to not do that. So, if you see like this concept art, you can tell that they went with this over here. See? I mean, this almost looks more Star Wars to me, and I'm fine with it. See the difference? Yeah, I like it, actually. I'm good with it. Because she looks so much older and she does, like, have the different shape and stuff, I think it's going to make seeing her in Conquest that much better, if that makes sense. She is doing the best she can. She's doing great. She doesn't understand why she was supposed to eat that baby dragon, but she's like, all right, if that's what you're telling me. And he's like, no, I didn't tell you to do that. And she's like, I mean, you thought it. Yes, she does. She does look more like a monster than a dragon. And then I think she'll look she's going to be a lot smaller. And I think people are probably going to be like, is that the same dragon? And there's probably going to be a lot of questions. I'm excited for Conquest. I think it's going to be really good. I'm hopeful. I didn't used to be as hopeful until A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. A Night of the Seven Kingdoms has me hopeful again. It was that good. So I'm really happy about that. Oh yeah, okay. So they said Vhagar's at a point where she's grown so large she's starting to collapse in on herself. So maybe she was once a very beautiful jade dragon, but now she's more like a monster, like you said, because of her age. Any horns that she's had have been pushed out by the growth of her skull. Her gums are receding. Her teeth are coming out. She's probably a little cranky. It probably hurts to take off like an old person getting up out of a chair. So I wish there was some way for people to like know these things. Like, I don't know. Like, I wish there was just this random character that knows way too much about basically me. I wish I could be just this little character that like shows up randomly and says, "Oh, there's Vhagar. Her gums are recessed. Did you know she used to have a lot more horns, but they're being pushed out because of her skull? Yeah, she never stops growing. And then I just wander off. I think that'd be brilliant. I don't know why." Jay, and that's probably part of the reason they came up with it, because they studied a whole lot of animals. Oh, Jesus. That. I'm making a meme out of that. "Hey, Vhagar, you were beautiful on your wedding day." She's like, look, I can't help it. I'm the nerdy dragon girl. It's what I do. So, okay, real quick, I get asked a lot about saddles. Why does Daenerys not have a saddle? Why do they have saddles in House of the Dragon? Well, it's because of time. There were no dragons. There was no one to make her a saddle or know what to do with a saddle. And she doesn't need it. So Daenerys does not use a saddle. Because conveniently, see, that's where she sits. Now, if you watch the show, there's some spikes right here that are very perfectly in place for her to hold on. So, it's show and tell, okay? So I have a little tiny Daenerys. So you can see, like, right there. That's where she sits. And then she holds on. This is actually from Mega Constructs. And it's not a very attractive Daenerys, but it was good for size. I don't know why they made her look like that. I can't give you an explanation of that. Why she looks like she's on steroids or something. But anyway, yeah, so she sits right there. But you don't really get to see the saddles really well in House of the Dragon, but all of them are different and they're all unique. So I did want to point that out. I mean, if you're one of the great houses and you have a dragon, come on. Like, see House Valyrian? I mean, they are impressive. A lot of thought went into the saddles, too. See? I think it's pretty cool. So, people ask me if I think Daenerys is ever going to have a saddle. No. If she doesn't need one now. The only way I think she would possibly get one is if, possibly before the long night. Because the thing is, without a saddle, Drogon can't go total sideways or upside down. So it wouldn't surprise me. But see, again, like a lot needs to happen. Hopefully she gets armor too. There's that. Not that I haven't really brought that a lot. Lordor, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Because that's how she learned to ride. Yes, with the Dothraki. Yep. But I like to bring up the point though that Drogon obviously can't. He's limited in maneuvering. But like again, he's a pretty big dragon. They're fine, but I would think for the battle, for the long night, for whatever you want to call it, whatever it ends up being called, when she fights the others, especially if she ends up having to fight another dragon, which like God, I don't even want to think about it. Yeah, it would probably be beneficial for her to have a saddle. Because I mean, you're not always just going to be going straight in. Now, if it's like spoils of war and you want to burn the Lannister army, you don't really have to go sideways or upside down. So she's fine for now. Chris, would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. So just in case you didn't know, Syrax is named for one of the Valyrian gods. We don't really know that much about the religion in Valyria, they the Valyrians never stopped anybody from worshiping any religion. But as far as their religion, I think we just know the names of some of the gods and like what they were a god of. Do we know anything else, Chris? I don't think we do.
There was a card game or something that I don't think is canon, but it listed off uh, each of the Valyrian gods and what their aspects were. Like Valerian was the name of the god of death, which makes sense for Valerian.
Mm-hmm.
So like I would say like that's probably real, even if like the card game could have coincidentally got that right. I'm not saying the card game is canon or whatever it was. It was some kind of game somebody had, like a board game or a card game or something.
Yeah, it's I think I think one of my art books is from it. I think it's the card game.
Uh, but aside from that, we really don't have any information. I don't think the books ever go into detail of what like the Valyrian gods were, or like how many they had.
Well, Loridor says their gods didn't seem to like them very much. Yeah, what I usually say is the Doom of Valyria is it's kind of the same story as the dwarves in Tolkien. You know, the dwarves got greedy and then they unleashed a Balrog. And I think the having slaves and the digging and the greed, I think it's that. I think it's the same thing. You went too far. You did too much, and there's your punishment. I mean, if you believe in karma, or you could just say it's science, and they just went too far, and it erupted. That's what Chris
The
would say. I'm more
the
like, well, I mean, it could be karma, and he's more like it's probably science.
well, like more like magic, because they George did describe that they had used like because they lived in an area with like 14 volcanoes, and they had put spells on each volcano to keep them from erupting, so that like they wouldn't have to worry about that.
Mm-hmm.
And there was all kinds of infighting where one family would kill the sorcerers from the other family, and eventually they didn't have enough sorcerers to hold back the eruptions. And like every time it was going to erupt, they had stopped it, but the pressure was still there, so they got like 400 or 500 years worth of eruptions all at once. Because like every
Ridiculous.
time a new eruption is going to happen, they stop it, but it's still there, just waiting to
Right.
come out. But the magic was holding it back. So it was their infighting ultimately that is possibly what overdid them. They didn't have enough sorcerers left to maintain the volcanoes, which would have been, you'd think would be an obvious thing, but people are stupid.
Again, infighting, greed. Like that's. I mean, like that's the dance. That's what's supposed to be depicted in House of the Dragon. Again, yes, hubris, greed,
That's that's
arrogance.
theorized why inbreeding was such a thing among the dragon rider families, because you'd think it would be like, well, there's no point for you to like marry within your own family because there's other dragon riders with other dragon blood. But the thing is, the theory goes only the Targaryens could ride Targaryen dragons, and the other dragon riding families could only like you couldn't be a Targaryen and then run over and try to steal a dragon from another family because their dragon wouldn't bond with you because you were outside the family. So that's why they had to marry inward. It was to consolidate power. Because if you
Right.
married another dragon lord from another family and then you have kids, well, that kid can ride your dragon or that family's dragon potentially, and like you lose your edge. They were trying to all consolidate.
And that makes sense. And like when you told me that, like that's the first time I'd really thought about it. Like, yeah, why the hell you want to just give power away? It's pretty rare. So
Because I was always wondering why were they inbreeding? Like, there's other dragon rider families. Like, you don't have to marry your own, especially when it comes with all these problems we've seen gradually happen. But that's why. I mean, I understood why the Targaryens had to because there was literally no other dragon riders, so they had to keep the bloodline pure. But if there was like 12 other dragon riding families, you just marry one of them. But I guess
Can,
that's why.
can you explain though that like if a Targaryen marries another Targaryen, like it's not the same, and like it's not like this the same thing that happens like to other families. I'm so tired of that. I'm so tired of
There,
it.
there was a little of that. I think that's mostly because they started having kids outside the family and they brought in like regular person genetics into the fold. Because they did have some family members born with like webbed hands or extra fingers,
Yep.
but it didn't happen all that often.
And again, we don't know if that's because I don't know. I think there's a lot of things that go wrong because the Valyrian blood is so damn diluted. It was
Also,
never meant to be mixed like that.
it's theorized that that's why Aegon the Conqueror was possibly sterile because of the generations of inbreeding.
And it just they're just not they weren't built to be like the only
Then again, his
family.
mother, but Aegon's mother was a Valyrian who still had Valyrian blood.
Yep.
But then again, this could be an example of marrying out having more problems than marrying in.
A lot of people also don't know that if you go to Essos, there's gonna be people that look Valyrian. It's not just a Targaryen thing.
Yeah, not every Valyrian was a dragon rider, but they all had the silver hair and purple eyes, I think, right?
Hmm. Yes. So I mean, it's a gross example, but Book Jorah's kind of a creep, and he goes to a pillow house and finds a chick that looks like Daenerys. She's probably making a lot of money. Um, that's that's the thing. I mean, like it's more rare in Westeros than Essos. So I mean, it's still a big deal, but I mean, you could just be walking around and see somebody with silver hair, somebody with like purple eyes. It's probably not that big of a deal. You're not gonna freak out. Yeah, I
That's
know.
one theory why Varys was like cut. Like
Hmm.
the guy saw him and immediately was like, "I know who and what that is. I need it for my ritual."
Well, that, apparently she agrees. Okay. Okay. But like now that we've seen A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, she's a co-host. You know, I don't know if people have thought about it or not, but you know, obviously Egg shaves his head. Varys doesn't have any hair. See?
He's one of the few characters described as bald as an egg.
Bald as an egg. Why? Why? You could say, oh well, he wears wigs because he goes in disguise. Well, nah, I'd probably just require short hair, not no hair. What's he hiding? Maybe silver hair? Maybe,
It's possible
possibly.
he's a Blackfire considering he's on that camp.
Yep. And that is a whole thing. One day we'll need to go live and explain who the Blackfires are. Probably. Um, so with Syrax, this is something I just thought was really interesting. So Syrax is, like I said, named after a Valyrian goddess. By the way, everything I'm reading is from the season one House of the Dragon book. I didn't know I could do this, but it has free shipping now. I guess that's an option I can add. So there, I did it. I'm learning. Okay. So, so like it says that Syrax is really fast. And her design took inspiration from actually the Concorde, the now retired aircraft capable of flying at twice the speed of sound. it has this certain shape that I wanted to incorporate into the design and mix it with different animals, mostly snakes. So Syrax is actually influenced by snakes and the Concord. So yeah, confirmation. Fast dragon. I just thought that was cool. It explains a lot. Which again doesn't mean she can't fight. It means she's really fast. And then here's that's some concept art for Syrax, which you can see in the season 1 promotional, like here. There's another picture where you can see the back of Syrax's head, and these are like really long. For some reason, Syrax is probably the dragon with the least continuity. And if you want to see that, I made a video about it. But like sometimes there's like really long spikes, and then sometimes there's not any, and the head shape changes too. Not really sure why. Okay, so snakes are also an important point of reference for Caraxes, the most battle-tested of all the dragons. Nicknamed the Bloodworm for its distinctive crimson scales, Caraxes is roughly half the size of Vhagar. Okay, and then more so than any other dragon, they say it for the dragons, so it sounds kind of strange. It represents the greatest deviation from the Drogon template. That's what they call it. It's serpentine shape inspired by dragons found in Chinese folklore. Okay. The bloodworm almost looks like a deformity in the way it slithers and undulates through the air versus just straight flying. So, never at rest. Even if he's down on the ground, he's always twitching and barking fire and swishing his tail and flapping his wings. And part of that is because Caraxes' personality closely mirrors that of its rider. Daemon, too, is never at peace. Even if he manages to be physically still in the moment, his mind is always racing. And this is kind of funny. He's the guy who's up at night thinking, my brother never made me heir, never made me hand. The world has taken away from me the things that I need and want. All the things that keep Daemon up and awake and fighting the way he does, we see that in Caraxes. So Caraxes, Rhaenyra and Syrax bonded when Rhaenyra was young and Syrax was young. No one else has ever ridden Syrax. Caraxes was an adult when Daemon bonded with Caraxes. Actually, well, I mean, nah, more so than any. Kind of sound, I don't know. I think I identify a bit with that because I feel like Caraxes probably has a touch of ADHD. If you can't sit still and your mind never slows down, that's fine. Not that I ever have that. And okay, so Caraxes actually required the most problem solving of all the dragons because it needs to be believable that this dragon can get off the ground and maintain flight in the air. So, like I said, inspired by like Chinese dragons, concept art where it really is noticeable. It's pretty cool. Again, I'm reading from this book. And look at that. If you don't like that, then I don't understand you. I just don't. Yeah, Gracie, isn't that great? I don't know if you were in here, but I was pointing out how different he is. He has look, leg wings. He's just built different. He's just different. Yes, very fireworm. See, I'm telling you, a lot of thought went into the design of the dragons, and I give credit when credit is due. I really do. Yes, Gracie, so do I, very much. And here's another piece of concept art. Look, like, hold on. There we go. Look how different. But you can definitely see the Chinese dragon influence. Different, but like still similar, but still cool. Like, I don't know, like there's no dragon, but I'm not gonna want to look at the concept art. Actually, because this is the book that goes with season 1. I have the book, the coffee table book for season 2, and I was so disappointed because for whatever reason, the season 2 House of the Dragon book has no dragons in it. None. Yeah, I do too. Which absolutely floored me. The only thing I can think of is that they're waiting and they're gonna make a dragon book. Maybe. Thank you for the follow. I hope, because I don't know why you'd have a House of the Dragon book with no dragons. This is the season 1 House of the Dragon book. It's right here. If you click right there, you can see it. I can do that now. Apparently I could do it the whole time. Again, check this out. I like showing this kind of stuff. Look, at one point, look, there's a bit like a horse. Isn't that interesting? Anybody want to guess why this is not seen? Anybody? Chris, you want to guess? Why do they not need a bit?
It seems like it'd be impractical.
It is. You don't need a bit because you don't have to tell them what way to go. You just think it.
Because like it seemed like you'd have to replace it every time they breathe fire.
They're bonded, so you don't need it. I mean, it's interesting. That's just kind of stuff I like to point out. Because if you want the dragon to go a certain way, you think, go that way. Dragon goes that way. Especially with Caraxes and Daemon, because they're really close. Let's see. We have concept art of Meleys. I have a Meleys up there, but okay. So Meleys is known as the Red Queen, given a similar palette to Caraxes, and what I really like. Okay, so Rhaenys is the queen who never was. So what they did is they gave, since Rhaenys is the crown of the queen that never was, Rhaenys' horns look like a crown. Like, okay, that's the kind of, I love that. I love it. Like, that's what's missing now, if that makes any sense. So they were going back and forth with the design of Meleys, and they were like, how far can we push this fantasy thing without going too far away from Drogon? And that was a very delicate dance. See, again, it's always going back to the template. But this is concept art of Meleys, who unfortunately is already gone in the show. And there you can see they're getting closer to like the crown. I just thought that was really cool. So it's like she's the queen that never was, but her dragon is known as the Red Queen, which I like. Ooh. If you're wondering if I'm like this all the time, you can ask my friends. I am. What's my favorite dragon? Drogon. He's right there. I forget to move out of the way. There you go. I like this one. That's my dragon. He's the bestest boy. Mm-hmm. This one is my favorite. I mean, I just love Drogon. He's sassy. He's big. He loves his mom. See? He's even smiling there. Look, I'll be honest with you, and I'm telling the truth. In the scene where Jon, gorgeous beast, I recoiled. I was literally just as irritated as Daenerys. They're not beasts to me. Yeah, he's I love him. I mean, I love Daenerys' dragons. Like, if you want to know my favorite dragon after the three, is Balerion. I think Balerian's badass. I love Dreamfire a lot. Dreamfire doesn't get near enough love. Dreamfire is the biological mother of Daenerys' dragons. So, and like after Dreamfire, I think Caraxes is really cool. I also like Meraxes. I like Meraxes a lot. Meraxes is Rhaenys, the one that was married to Aegon the Conqueror's dragon. Here's a little random fact, but if you go look at fan art of Meraxes, Meraxes is actually described as being gray, but because Rhaenys is so, how can I put it? Rhaenys is greatly associated with having a lot of love for Aegon. There's quite a bit of fan art of Meraxes being pink, which I think is adorable. So, would I love it if when we see Meraxes, if like, you know, Sunfire is gold with pink wing membranes. I would love it if Meraxes had some pink, some gray and pink. Like, Jesus. I would get way too excited. Yes, Dreamfire's color is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Yes, Brie, like morning. Yes. I would love to have a pink dragon. 100% pink and like opal. Like, when people ask me if I could have a dragon, what would I have? And I always say the same thing. I want two. I want one big, giant, dark dragon. So if I need to go handle some business, I can. But then I have a reputation to keep. So I want my pink dragon to be my day dragon when I'm waving at people. And then when I go visit them and tell them, if you betray me, burn you alive. I need my bigger dragon. I want two. Hey, Billy Bob, how are you? So, yeah. Now, I get asked a lot of dragon questions, and I never mind. Oh, Sea Smoke. So, I think Sea Smoke looks really cool. Sea Smoke looks a lot like Drogon. So much so that actually, it's the scene where Jon meets Drogon. Drogon is leaning in, and everybody's wondering, oh my God, is he gonna eat him? What's he gonna do? Even Daenerys is like, they flipped that scene and used it for Sea Smoke getting close to Adam. Yeah, Brie, you remember? Yes, Sunfire does, Gracie. You are correct. Yes. Yep. Actually, I worked on a picture today. I took the show Sunfire and then colored it the color of the book description. So gold, and you can't really tell, but that's pink. Yeah. Looking around like what you do. Yeah. It's a good thing that's the closest thing to an actual dragon. Well, no, that's probably Gumdrop. But yeah, I don't need a dragon. Nope, neither does Jessica. We have a temper. Notice Chris isn't saying anything. Okay, so 4 of the dragons were modeled quite closely to Drogon. Again, I'm reading this book. It's the House of the Dragon book from season 1. It's right there. Sea Smoke is one of the dragons that looks the most like Drogon. Pale gray and white. First written by Laenor. And the other ones that are shaped the most like Drogon, Vermax, Arax, and Tyrax. So Sea Smoke, Vermax, Arax, and Tyrax all strongly resemble Drogon. And let's see. I mean, the assumption is that Syrax is the mother of those 3 dragons because, like, if you had a clutch of eggs from Syrax, like having the same 2 letters at the end kind of seems like it makes sense. Like, it's Syrax baby, so you have Vermax, Arax, and Tyrax. So it's usually assumed that those are Syrax's kids. Hey, Andre, how are you? Yeah, Brie, all the time. So, okay. I really, I like the concept art of Arax. We don't get to see Arax very much, but I really like this color scheme a lot. I just think that looks badass.
Yeah, I really like that too.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's giving weirwood. I mean, yeah. I mean, you could do a lot with this. Like, I mean, come on, man. Look at that. That just looks good. Strangely enough, Sea Smoke looked like had more of this coloring, and then they just dropped it. I don't know why. Yeah, Jay's like, yeah. Here's Sea Smoke. Very Drogon. Fun fact. At least in the beginning, Sea Smoke looks like Drogon, except he has an underbite. Now, I don't know if that's going to be kept. Probably not. But, like, if you want to know things I love, that. Yeah. Yeah, it was cute. It was really damn cute. I mean, he kind of looks like it there. Like, just a tiny bit. Makes him look a little grouchy. Look, I like this. I like the little details. That's what I love. But, like you can see, like, look at the size. Silly baby. I'm so tempted. Oh, why not? Would you send a dragon and a child this size to do your bidding? Or would you do it yourself? Okay. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Okay. Alright, and then here is concept art for Vermax. Again, another dragon we just don't get to see enough, and we're not going to. And you can take that any way you'd like. Let's see. Oh yeah, I remember this. They obviously they based the dragons a bit on like who's gonna be bonded with the dragon, and Moon Dancer is one of those. Bela's kind of a badass. A lot of people really like Bela. I like Bela. We're getting to know her a bit more. We got to see her a bit in season 2. I wish she'd had more screen time. You can tell Bela's very, very secure with herself. I mean, we got to see her scare the shit out of Kristen Cole, and that was cool. So a lot of people are very fond of Bela. So Bela's dragon is Moon Dancer, and I thought y'all might want to know this. So Moon Dancer is the dragon belonging to Daemon's headstrong daughter Bela. Presented the artist with an ideal opportunity to break the mold. Although the dragon has relatively little in the way of screen time, Moon Dancer is the rock star of the bunch. She has pale green scales and pearlescent crest, horns, and wing bones. She's the punk rocker. She has more of a mohawk, and she has a vibrant green color palette with an intricate pattern design on her skin. So, I thought that was really cool because I mean, people kind of associate Bela with being a badass. Even after the dance, nobody really messes with Bela. Yes, she's a lot like her dad. Yes, that's fine, Cobalt. Thank you for listening to us talk about dragons. And no, I will not test you. I promise. Oh yeah, and then Sunfire. Sunfire is Aegon's, and Sunfire is described as the most beautiful dragon Westeros has ever seen. And bronzy, pinkish dragon. And apparently, again, we don't get to see Sunfire very much, but the concept art is not too far off. That's the same shaped head. So I would assume there is pink. We just can't see it. And the color, like, the colors in House of the Dragon are pretty damn muted as a whole. And that goes for the costumes and the dragons. So it wouldn't shock me to know that there's actually more like pink. And then post-production, they seem to gray everything out for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah, Gracie, yeah, I just wish we got more screen time. Yep. Which is really cool. Look at Bree. Bree likes dragons like I do. Yes, I do too. It's just cool. And if you remember in the scene when Aegon goes to get Sunfire, like, Sunfire walks different, which makes sense. And look, and I'm again, I'll give credit where there's credit's due. Sunfire seems very playful, like literally like nudges Aegon and stuff. Gracie, that's a really good question. Same, Brie. That and unicorns. For whatever reason, they've made the decision to in post-production to make the colors insanely muted. They've even taken scenes that were filmed during the day and made them night. Chris, do you have any sort of guesses why they do that? I don't
like
know.
for the one scene, as they were filming, it was getting darker and darker, and like it wouldn't have made sense because like the first half of the scene was bright and the second half would have been darker. So they just decided to say, "Fuck it, we'll just make the whole thing dark, and that way at least we have continuity. Otherwise, we'll have to reshoot half the scene again."
But like it seems though like that everything is just dark and gray. Like there's actual pictures of like even the costumes, and you see them in the pictures and it's like, oh, that's really pretty, and then it just, I don't know, man. They just don't like a lot of color. Ask Ryan Condal, man. I don't know. I'm gonna try to give you an example. Basically anything. Like, there's that damn dagger. I'm so tired of that. Oh, just in case, I'm not showing you this to hurt your feelings or anything. But, we were supposed to see Alicent in this. Don't be mad at me. Man, fuck that dagger. I'm so tired of that dagger, Brie. Don't be mad at me about it, okay? I didn't do it. Don't be mad at me. I didn't do it. I didn't make that change. They didn't call and ask me either, which is insane. Even this, man. Even, you see how much more red that looks? Like, everything ends up looking like that. I don't know why. They're allergic to color for whatever reason. Gracie, yeah. Yeah, we should have. I mean, like, I understand, like, it's a sad story, but, like, that doesn't mean we have to not have color, because we did. This was just a pretty bright scene. Here's House of the Dragon. This is it. This is one picture that represents House of the Dragon. That's it. See? That's all it is. It's a love story. Sorry. Isn't it, Chris?
Yes, it's a love story. It's friends to enemies to lovers.
Y'all didn't know that? Okay, so because it has to do with dragons, it's not so far off. I was gonna talk about Dragonstone for like just a minute. Again, Deborah, there's no place. Never mind. Do what you want. Let me move everything. Whatever you want. Yeah, she just made herself comfortable. All right. Dragonstone is really cool in Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon. I'm not saying it's not. That's what you're used to seeing. But wait, there's more. Dragonstone, and again, I wish they would just have me show up and like lore drop and then leave. Dragonstone's really old. It was an outpost. Thank you, Untitled. What are you doing? Thank you. Thank you, Brie. And then she just went back to where she was. Cats are a lot like dragons. Right. So, keep producing music content for a chance to get featured on Music Live Spotlight. TikTok, I love you, but there's no way. You don't want me to sing. I promise. You really don't. So Dragonstone was a Valyrian outpost, which makes sense. And it's really old, and it was created with dragons and magic. I'm just throwing that out there. And it's described as just damn near everything is either like looks like a dragon shaped, or it has gargoyles. And that's totally not what we have. I think it looks cool. I'm not saying it doesn't look cool, but I'm just telling you how it's described in the books. I've done some artwork of what it looks like. If you're really interested, I can send it to you or whatever. But it's covered in gargoyles. So I kind of wish we would have gotten that. I mean, I get it, but and also like all the any art book I have, every single picture of Dragonstone looks different, like vastly different. But like usually it's like got an entrance with like two giant dragons, and then you go in and like it has a great hearth with like a dragon head over it. I don't know. I think it looks cool. All right, Brie, whatever you want. You just tell me. Chris, is there anything we missed?
Probably, but I can't think of it.
If anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask. Okay. Here's some concept art of the dragon pit that I think looks cool. I wanted to show y'all. And if you think about the scenes in season 8 in the dragon pit when they're meeting, like this makes sense. Because, like, I mean, it feels like a broken version of this. Egg pit. What's my favorite version of Dragonstone? One of the ones I made. I don't know. It's kind of a thing. Hold on, I'll show you. So I did a video of Daenerys on a ship going to Dragonstone. It made me happy. I did a whole bunch of different ones, and then I had to pick my favorite, which took a minute. You can't really see it, but yeah, it has like dragons sticking out. Because my whole thing is like, okay, it's Valyria. They have dragons. I think they would want it to look menacing as hell. So when you approach, I imagine that there's giant ass dragons sticking out, going, "Yeah, watch what you do. Watch what you do." I mean, wouldn't you? I mean, I would. Yeah, it's kind of like I feel like they're warning you of, oh, by the way, I know you're here to trade or whatever, but by the way, we have dragons. And if you didn't know that, here are giant dragons that were made with magic and dragon just sticking out, warning you. I mean, yes, that would look really cool. And I like the gargoyles too. I want gargoyles, scary, creepy gargoyles. Yes, Jay is correct. Yes. Banners everywhere. Everywhere. As should be. I mean, totally understandable. But yeah. I just feel like anyone approaching would be able to see the dragons carved out of stone and large and intimidating. That's what I think. What do you think, Christopher?
No, I agree.
See, I love that. All right. So, unless anybody has any other questions. Right. I expect to see dragons at Dragonstone. Yeah, that. I mean, I like dragons. They like dragons. It only makes sense. If you're gonna have a dragon help you make a building, then make it out of dragon. But I mean, I like what Dragonstone looks like, and I think they did a really good job with the throne. Which I had a conversation with Chris. There's no throne in the books. Chris reminded me of that. There's not one. Doesn't mean they
I'd
didn't
want
have
a
a great
castle.
cool seed or whatever. Hmm?
I'd want a castle shaped like a kidney, and I'd name it Kidney Stone.
See? Does anyone worship dragons?
I don't believe so.
You like the table? Yeah. There we go. This is the one, and again, it's this book right here. There you go. Looks a bit different than the one in Game of Thrones. But yeah, there's concept art and then the actual picture of the table. The painted table. Like, is it religion? No. No. That doesn't mean that there's not somebody somewhere that does. We just don't know about it. You want to hear about the wild dragons? Okay. Okay, so there is there are three wild dragons that exist during this time period. There's Cannibal, Sheep Stealer, and Grey Ghost. And Sheep Stealer we've seen. Sheep Stealer is In Fire and Blood, the dragon that bonds with Nettles. Yes, I have dragon pictures on my iPad. No, I didn't have to look this up. Sheep Stealer looks rough. Interesting, but Sheep Stealer's been through it. And I think that makes sense. Um, the character they omitted from House of the Dragon that I get pissed off about is Nettles. Nettles was a dragon seed that bonded with Sheep Stealer, and they took her story and just gave it to Rhaena. And then Rhaena doesn't get her dragon; she gets Sheep Stealer. So we were omitted a dragon. It's very weird. Sheep Stealer liked sheep. So when Rhaenyra had the dragon seeds come try to bond with the dragons, Nettles is this melanated little scrappy girl from from nothing, from Flea Bottom. And I mean, the dragon's named Sheep Stealer. So she knows he likes sheep. So every day she brings him sheep until he's finally like, all right. And that's how she gets her dragon. It's a cool story. It's sad that we didn't get to have that. Instead, it looks like we're gonna have half burned Rhaena. Okay. So let's see. Grey Ghost. What do we know about Grey Ghost? Grey Ghost likes to eat fish. Not a whole hell of a lot known. Is Grey Ghost the one that they see fighting with Sunfire?
I think so. I can't really remember. I think it is.
Sunfire has a hard time of it. Badly injured, and then some people around saw a gold dragon and I think a gray dragon fighting, and it was likely Grey Ghost. And then Cannibal. Cannibal eats the other dragon's eggs and babies. And Chris, would you like to explain? Like, you're the only person I've ever heard actually give a good reason for why that is.
Well, like I don't know if this is true or not because, like, according to the small folk, and they've got all these weird superstitions and stuff. They have to take this with a grain of salt. But supposedly, the cannibal was on Dragonstone before the Targaryens built Dragonstone there. And if that's the case, maybe he's a completely different type of dragon, or is it one from the the line of dragons that are bonded with House Targaryen, or he could be a wild dragon that was never uh, claimed or tamed by any family. So, like, we don't really know a whole lot about the cannibal. He's just there.
And I've always been like, oh god, Cannibal, why do you eat the baby dragons and the eggs? And Chris said, well, maybe if Cannibal's a completely different type of dragon, maybe it doesn't even register that those are dragon eggs and babies, which that actually makes sense. And I like that. And he's the only person I've ever heard say anything like that. Yeah. Yes. And who knows from where. Yeah. I give him full credit for that. Yes, they're feral. All three are feral. Um, the only accounts of any of the wild dragons are it's just stuff the small folk have said. But there's three. Let me see. Most of the artwork of Cannibal, he doesn't look very nice, which yeah, it tracks. Okay, so think there's just a section about the three of them. Yeah, here it is. The cannibal is a wild dragon that lived on Dragonstone during the Dance of Dragons. He was black with menacing green eyes. He was the largest and oldest of the three completely wild dragons dwelling on Dragonstone. And the other two are Sheepstealer and Grey Ghost. The small folk of the island called him the cannibal because he would practice cannibalism, feasting on dead dragons, newborn dragons, and dragon eggs. And he doesn't look nice. There's no artwork of Cannibal where he looks friendly. Yep. That's the Cannibal. Grey Ghost. I think Grey Ghost is the one that has the least known. Grey Ghost, or the Grey Ghost, was the name given by the small folk of Dragonstone to a wild dragon living there during the dance. He was pale gray-white, the color of morning mist. He was a shy dragon who avoided men and their works for years at a time. His avoidance of people and his ability to hide in clouds and mist gave him his name. He preferred to feed on fish and was often glimpsed flying low over the narrow sea, snatching prey from the waters. He made his lair and his smoking vent high on the eastern side of the Dragon Mont. He was never claimed nor ridden by any man. And let's see. Some of the dragon seeds actually looked for Grey Ghost and couldn't find him. I don't want to spoil anything, so I'll stop there. I mean, relatable. He likes fish and he didn't like being around people. The dragon's fire is the color of the dragon. I would assume it would be the same for the wild dragons. We're not told any different. So, the thing is though, it would depend on if people have ever seen the fire of the dragon. So, Cannibal was black with green eyes. So that would mean like his flame would be black. Now, if he was like black with like green wing membranes, then he would probably have a flame that was black with like swirls of green, because Drogon's is black with swirls of red. Sheepstealer. Okay, so Sheepstealer's coloring was described as an ugly mud brown. So his flames were possibly red or golden. So the mud brown probably had red undertones. He really liked mutton. And that Sheepstealer with nettles, who sadly is not in House of the Dragon. And there she is, bringing him a sheep. So, yeah. Why she's not in the show, I don't know. They just decided to give that story to Rhaena, which is interesting because who knows? Maybe Daemon will start an affair with his daughter in season 3. It really wouldn't shock me. Anybody else got anything else? Chris, you know I'm right.
You are.
It wouldn't shock anybody. It shouldn't. The Weirwood Dragon, fire white and red. Yeah. The color of the dragon's the color of the flame. Which I understand why they didn't do that in Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon. Chris and I have had this conversation a lot. Like, he was talking about how the wildfire looks cool, and it does. So if the wildfire looks cool, then like the dragon flame could have looked cool. But I would assume like the effort and probably monetary reasons why they just decided not to. And then like if you don't have it in Game of Thrones, it'd look really weird in House of the Dragon, so they just went with like regular flame. But yeah, whatever the color of the dragon is, that's the color of the dragon's flame. There could be like a little difference, but not much. So, like Drogon's egg isn't red, it's black. He has a really shiny, pretty black egg, which it's not usually depicted like that, which I understand for aesthetic purposes, but I'm just telling people. Hey Thea, how are you? All right, so that was Dragon Talk. If no one has anything else or any questions, we will take our leave of you. If anyone has anything you would like us to talk about next Sunday, feel free. There's plenty of things that we like to talk about and have no issue with at all. I don't know if there's really anything that you can say about any of Song of Ice and Fire or Fire and Blood that we're not going to be like, sure. You're very welcome. Thank you, Jessica. You're welcome. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. This is very fun. And again, a lot of that information I got from the House of the Dragon book that came out about season 1. What year was that? It's a really pretty book. It like has like dragon scale at the front and the back. I don't even remember. Came out like right after the first season, whenever that was. What year was that? I don't remember how many years it's been.
I don't recall.
It's like 4 years ago, 3 years ago. 3, I guess. Oh, there you go. Dragon skull. It just looks cool. That's all. Thank you, Gracie. That's very nice of you to say. Being a regular person living on Dragonstone is probably weird. We know that for a fact. Not so much a regular person, but we have a POV of a maester. It's Stannis' maester. He lives on Dragonstone, and that is literally what he's describing. That it's weird. He finds it creepy. So you are 100% correct. From the dragons to the gargoyles, he finds it unsettling. And he's not a bad maester, but it's unlike anything, anyone else has been around. So, and there aren't dragons, so yeah, understandably, a maester would probably be creeped out by it. Especially if you're Stannis' maester. Yes, and that is what Gracie's talking about. It's a very good prologue. So read the books. Read the books. Or listen to the audiobook, whichever you want. Alright, so thank you for hanging out with us. It was very fun. And what's today, Sunday? I'll be back Wednesday. Right. I'll be live Wednesday, and I think that's about it. What do dragons eat anyway? Depends on my mood. I can either say whatever they want, or if I'm not in a great mood, I can say direwolves named Lady. It just depends. You're very welcome. I'm glad y'all enjoyed it. Any excuse to talk about dragons and show dragon stuff. Or if I'm in a really bad mood, what do dragons eat anyway? Bitches with red hair. All the time. I know. I have a compilation video of responses to that. I'm gonna put it out at some point. Yep. Hey, look. You telling me I flew down here to save your ass and you're gonna ask what my dragons eat? Where's your mom, Sansa? There's your mom. What? Look! It was rude. Where's your dad? Alright, that's what I thought. Look, she was being a bitch. I do content all the time about how that was ridiculous. Daenerys is very nice to Sansa. Need I remind you, one of Daenerys' children died because of all that northern foolishness. Don't ask me what my dragons eat. Also, need I remind you that the people of Winterfell were racist as hell, giving Missandei and Grey Worm horrible looks just because there was some melanin. Gracie is correct. Jay is correct. Jessica is correct. I can pull up the damn scene. Irritates me every time I see it. They're just sitting there like a bunch of inbred assholes. Like, oh my god, what is that? Which is probably how some people are going to act when she does go to Westeros. Nah, it just made them look bad, actually. Yeah, the whole North remembers. I did a whole thing on it, like the North remembers to be racist. Yeah, exactly. To the Unsullied and the Dothraki that came to save them. Right. Right. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. It is. I don't think Ned Stark would be a big fan of his people giving people with melanin the side eye. I don't think Ned would allow that. He would probably be pretty pissed off. I'm, I mean, it's not like he could say it or anything, but I mean, Ned was trying to. He was trying to stop Daenerys from getting assassinated, so there's that. I mean, and then you show up and it's like, oh, thanks. I can tell you're so appreciative I'm here. The North is as beautiful as your brother described it, as are you. That is literally what she says. And the response is, Winterfell is yours, your grace. Wow. And that's coming from someone with a really poor memory. Just bad. Just bad. So, again, it's just bad writing. Brie, I can't stand it. It's just bad writing. Sansa wouldn't act like that. It was ridiculous. Yeah. Yeah, it was close. It was close. It was a good thing that I wasn't really that thirsty. Gracie, I agree. Thank you for the follow, Bobby. Jorah really stepped up on that one. I mean, it was his fault. Um, it was his fault, but he stepped up. Thank you, Bobby. I appreciate it. I'm glad you're glad I wasn't poisoned with wine. Because that balances out. Afraid of a dragon killed by a Lord or that's epic. I love that. I want a t-shirt that says that, please. Guys, I still get comments. You can ask Chris, ask Jessica. I got word yesterday of somebody chewing me out for King's Landing. Yesterday. It's been years. Gracie, same. Yeah, the wine always does look delicious. Yeah, it does. Always looks like grape juice though. Yes, they were in their feelings. Typed it in. Did he type it in 2 different languages? Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2 different languages telling me that the dude called me a bitch. Gracie, same. I have skipped the brand chapters before. Mm-hmm. Dude called me a bitch and said I was evil for murdering the innocents in King's Landing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, I get comments in the chat comments. I get messages. Why did you kill the children? You're such a bitch. You know what? At this point, yeah. I don't think it'll. Yeah, they're very very passionate. Like Jesus Christ! Like seriously? That's why I said I don't know how Amelia does it. I don't know how Kid does it. I don't know how George does it. I don't know how they can answer the same thing over and over again. I really don't. Because if it's brought up that much to me, can you imagine? I would probably have a sign that said, I am not speaking on King's Landing. Please don't ask. And people would ask anyway. I mean, but you know, at the end of the day, in times like these, if people are that irritated about it and they're venting or angry, why did you do it? You know what that tells me? You didn't expect it. So that means it didn't make sense to you either, whether you want to admit it or not. I mean, yes. And that looked like a very good breakfast sandwich. I mentioned that on the podcast specifically. It looked like a very good breakfast sandwich. So, yes, just know there are people at least a couple times a week that yell at me about King's Landing. It's fine. It's what I do. All right, everyone. Have a good night. Get rest. Hope everyone has a wonderful beginning of the week. And I will see you guys on Wednesday. So have a good night. And thank you for hanging out with us. We appreciate it.